Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be discussing the top 5 cards, in my opinion, to collect in Star Wars CCG, but on the other hand, I'm actually not going to discuss that quite as explicitly as the title might suggest. The purpose of this video is more to compare to in my opinion, the top 2 collectible card games of the moment in this beginning of 2021, which are Magic: The Gathering and Pokemon. Why those markets are the way they are a little bit, in my opinion, and what are some of the similarities and differences as they relate to Star Wars CCG, which is kind of my pet pride and joy, so to say. So, first of all, a little bit of what's happening in, especially Pokemon, probably in Magic as well, but just in a little bit different way. One of the phenomena that's really popular right now is these, for lack of a better word, celebrity YouTubers that will hype certain products. They may not say that, and they may not even think about it like that. Like some of them probably just think to themselves that they're interested in it, which I'm sure they are, but for better or worse, what they say has very real effects on the market, since there's such a small market cap compared to the number of people at the moment who are interested in it. And despite lack of what I say true scarcity, like there may be little of the product available on the market compared to how many exists out there due to how many people, say in Pokemon, are hoarding modern sealed product. So when a card such as, say, full art, I don't know, Jesse and James, that seems to be something that people are buying out, just those full art waifus and stuff. There probably exist quite a few more out there than are on the market. So the price doesn't necessarily reflect the true scarcity of the product, if that makes sense. I believe some other YouTubers have kind of commented on that. Anyhow, so sometimes, yes, the point here is sometimes people will release top 5 or top 10 videos and then they'll display certain Pokemon cards, and then of course the viewers will kind of catch on to the now heightened visibility regarding those cards, causes price spikes, scarcity, etc. It's kind of a artificial, I wouldn't say artificial because nothing really is artificial here unless it's done with the intention of pumping and dumping, which I don't think it is necessarily as much as people might think it is. That's kind of implying maliciousness to it, malicious intent. I don't think it's necessarily like that. Certain YouTubers may just enjoy saying what they like to collect, and they want to share that, and for better or worse, that can lead to these kinds of phenomena. Now, one of the reasons I bring this up is because, especially in modern Pokemon, to me, there doesn't seem to be much separating the different sets, and maybe that's because of my lack of knowledge. Same thing with Magic Gathering, like modern Magic sets, I just don't, with individual cards, understand the appeal, since they can be reprinted at any time since they're not on the reserve list. I guess reserve list cards are kind of the opposite, where I could make a top 5 undervalued reserve list cards, but again, I don't know, it seems very subjective. And to some degree, collectibles are subject to a high degree of subjectivity, where we all have our own opinions about what is valuable and what's not. But one of the things I think that Star Wars CCG has going for it is, well, it's kind of obvious just from the movies themselves and the fandom itself what kind of cards would be desirable. I mean, again, I made a brief comment in one of my previous videos where basically Vaders and Lukes are going to be the most desirable card because, well, they're the main 2 characters in the original trilogy that people probably think about the most when it comes to Star Wars. Now, perhaps that could change a little bit with these new Disney movies, with Mandalorian, those sorts of things. But by and large, Star Wars collectors, of which there are many out there, Luke and Vader, kind of the top, what do you want to call them, top of the pyramid. Then you have a lot of side characters from there, it all trickles down. So if I were to make a top 5 video on just top 5 cards to collect, what exactly would I put there, right? Would I just say the top 5 most valuable cards right now in January of 2021? I mean, I could make a video on that. I could do the top 5 that I think are undervalued, regardless, compared to where they should be, with their, say, the rarity, just how nice the card looks, how desirable I think it is. Or I could give a top 5 as it pertains to my combination of all those values and what I kind of like, how valuable I think it should be versus how valuable the market's deciding it should be right now, those sorts of things. Perhaps I'll make videos on all of those different aspects of this, but for myself, I don't think that these types of top 5 videos are kind of like junk food, you know? A lot of it is, in my opinion, a couple of things. One, people want certainty, and when someone on a YouTube video tells them, hey, you don't have to think about this, I've already thought about it for you, it being, you have money to spend and you want to buy, probably in most cases, Pokemon or Magic cards, and you want to buy them with the intent of making money off of them. It's kind of a lot of implicit desires there that a lot of people have, and they kind of acknowledge them, and sometimes they're not completely honest with themselves on it, but I think that's what's driving a lot of this. I mean, come on, if someone gave you an opportunity and basically said, hey, I know you're working your day job and it kind of sucks, but you could put your money away and basically double it, triple it, 10x it, like it's happened a lot in collectible cards over the last year. I mean, you're gonna be a fool not to do it, right? And you're busy, and it takes a lot of effort to research these things on your own. So here's someone on YouTube telling you, well, you don't have to think about it, I already thought about it for you. So just buy these cards and you'll get that free money. And a lot of times it works out because, as again, other YouTubers have pointed out, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, especially if they have a large enough audience where that audience will then go out and buy that card and it will go up in price. And is the causality necessarily that the card was really undervalued, or is that the person, the YouTuber, said something and then caused it to be bought out? I mean, it's really difficult to say, and that's not necessarily the most important thing. But what is important, I believe, to get out here is that this isn't really a sustainable way of making money. I mean, I guess if you want to follow those, I hate to use the word bubble, because it's not necessarily bubble, that's not quite correct, but if you want to follow those types of waves of hype and make money, you probably can. But you could also lose a lot. And, that's not really what I want to do here. What I do want to do here is cover why I think fundamentally Star Wars CCG, Star Wars collectible card game, customizable card game rather, sorry, make the mistake quite a bit, is, compared to its fundamentals, very undervalued, in my opinion. And of course, I could be wrong on that. That's one thing in life that I've found, and many others much more wiser than me have found, is that sometimes you can be right on just about every detail you can think of and still lose at whatever you're doing, so to say, through no fault of your own. So even if I were completely correct on all the points I made in this channel, I could still put money into Star Wars CCG and lose money, even if I was right on all the fundamentals. So just thought I'd put that caveat out there. And just likewise with any investment, they're fundamentally risky. But on the other hand, without risk, it's very difficult to make greater rewards, if that makes sense. Fortune favors the bold. Like, if you always make a completely safe decision, which in many cases, to many people just involve making no decision, keep it in a bank that basically loses to inflation, keep it in a banking account, you won't get anywhere in life. There's no such thing as taking no risks in life. Taking no risks is the same thing as, I wouldn't say as taking risks, but it's not necessarily a good decision. Taking no decision is not necessarily a good decision. You have to take risks in life, but they have to be measured and hopefully well thought out. So I hope in this channel that I can help both myself and any of my potential viewers to just be honest with themselves about what they're thinking, because sometimes we kind of, I don't want to say delude ourselves, that's too negative, but sometimes we're not completely honest with ourselves about what our intentions are. And if you can't be honest with yourself, then how can you be honest with other people, right? that's something I'm kind of working on at the moment. Like, I'd love to say I'm completely altruistic by making this channel, and I want to just help other people and, and have nothing in it for myself, but that's just not true. It can't be true in these sorts of things. Like, necessarily with lots of viewership comes, I can hype up the cards, and, I wouldn't say that now, but of course it's like, what, power. There's all sorts of quotes about power and, how the negativity brings to people, but, I really like Star Wars cards. I think they're fundamentally undervalued, and in some ways it's kind of sad because the game, I don't want to say it's dying or died out because it's still going after 20 years, but it just could be so much more. And as much as some of the players want to just, revive the game as is, I don't think it can really happen. But I do think if there was renewed interest in the game, which would likely come with kind of increased attention that comes from increased prices, because money really is a representation of our time and energy in some ways. And if there were more of that in the hobby, then I think that would come naturally in some way. I don't know how exactly, whether it just be more players or maybe Disney would reboot the game. That would be amazing, but there's certainly a lot of legal hurdles there, so it might be a pipe dream. But just something more. Where there's enough money, there's always a way. So anyhow, I know I didn't cover the top 5 cards in this video, and I might cover top 5s in other videos along the ways I described, like top 5, maybe just cards I think look really nice, top 5 cards I think are undervalued, and maybe just the top 5 most expensive cards, although I don't have a few of those. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts in this video. Anyhow, stay safe, everyone. It's beginning of 2021 when I'm making this, so yeah, let's see how that this year brings. Hopefully it'll be a little bit less chaotic than last year. Stay safe, everyone.